When you walk down the street, you're going to see police or you're going to see FBI agents. We will bring in the military if it's needed.
Donald Trump shut down D.C. not because he wants to get rid of the homeless people, not because he's so concerned about these gangs of young people. No, he shut it down because it's a predominantly black area.
He behaves as someone who is not only intimidated by black power and black leadership, he wants to do everything in his power to prevent it from fully being exercised.
Today, we're breaking down some heated claims about Donald Trump, Washington, D.C., and race. A viral clip has been circulating where a woman says Trump shut down D.C., not because of crime or homelessness, but because, in her words, it's a predominantly black area.
Trump is doing everything in his power to bait black people, and it's only getting worse because black people aren't falling for anything at all right now. To the point where now you're just about to deploy the National Guard in Washington, D.C., where there's a high black population, especially a high black homeless population, because you want black people in the streets protesting so you can enact martial law. We all know it. We all know it. Because the thing is, when white people have been protesting, and all of these protests have been so civil, none of them have even been streamed on TV because they're not violent. They don't get violent with white people. But they have no problem getting violent with black people. And they know if they can get black people out to protest and to fight for our rights yet again, they can enact martial law and they can throw us all in jail if we ever think of rebelling.
She argues that this is about purging people of color and warns that if it succeeds in D.C., Trump will target other major cities next. But then commentator Anton Daniels steps in, questioning that logic. He asks, if you wanted to hold people down, would you really clean up crime, gangs, and drugs in their communities? Or would you let those problems continue so property values drop, making it easier to buy up?
If you want to hold a group of people down, do you go in and eliminate the crime, eliminate the gangs, eliminate the drugs, clean up the communities, because nobody's house is being taken, nobody's property is actually being taken. It actually makes it more value. Do you actually go in and clean up the community, or do you let them continue to run the value down so that you can then buy it for cheap? Just a question, right? Because I'm trying to understand, how does driving down crime in a predominantly black area, or in an area where black people exist en masse, how does driving down crime, eliminating gangs?
Another commentator takes it even further. He claims that Trump recently rolled back protections that prevented federal buildings from segregating bathrooms, water fountains, and workspaces. He warns this could be the first step toward undermining the Civil Rights Act of 1964, which was fought for by leaders like Martin Luther King Jr. and John Lewis.
In the last couple of days, I've gotten tons of hate mail from black Trump voters. Now, right off the bat, if you're black and you voted for Trump or you're still supporting Trump, you are delusional. If you think Trump, I've known Trump for 30 years. If you think he's pro-black people, you're completely delusional. I've been to Mar-a-Lago, I don't know how many times, and I've never seen a black person there. And Mar-a-Lago is a huge place. There's 1,000 people there when I used to go there for a fundraiser or an event. Never seen a black person. I've never seen a single black person there. Okay? Trump is not a fan of black people, but you probably didn't see this. If you're still supporting him, you probably didn't see how he snuck this in a couple of days ago. So a couple of days ago, if you're not familiar, Trump pulled back the law that kept federal workers in federal buildings from segregating bathrooms, drinking fountains, work areas from blacks and whites or any other race. Okay, it was always black and white, but that's what the law says. He pulled it. Okay, now we're going back to the days of the early 60s and late 50s, 1950s and before, where there were black colored water fountains is what they called them for coloreds, and white water fountains and restaurants. And now in federal buildings, they can discriminate against you. Okay, let me tell you, if you didn't know that, let me tell you what's next. It's coming. Watch. The Civil Rights Act of 1964. Now, if you don't know your history, that's what Martin Luther King died for, basically. Okay, that's what John Lewis used to march in the streets for. Jesse Jackson, all these guys fought for this to give so people could not discriminate. The government couldn't discriminate, citizens couldn't discriminate, companies couldn't discriminate against people of color. Okay, if he pulls that, we're headed back to 1950. And if you're black, you ain't gonna like it, let me tell you. Okay, I don't know how many of these people that are sending me hate mail that are black are educated people, but if you know your history, I don't see how you're supporting Trump. Wake up before it's too late. It's going to take generations to pull this back together if we ever do. And you don't want to live in a country when you're a black person that's circa 1940, 1950. It was not a pleasant experience. Okay.
Paulette on the mic broke this down. DC's crime rate is actually at a 30-year low, down another 26%. The data doesn't lie. So if crime is down, why militarize the city? Because it's not about crime at all. It's about stoking fear and reinforcing the age-old stereotype that black people are inherently dangerous.
So the Trump administration has just crossed another line, posting the mugshots of arrested black men on the official White House social media pages. Not one white man, not one non-black face. Did you know about that? So, by pushing these images out to the public on the White House page, that must make it real, right? That's got to make it real. Here's what's happening. They're shaping the perception and telling the nation who to fear. They want old white ladies to continue to clutch their purses in public and lock their doors, justifying future crackdowns. That's what they're doing too. I want you to understand that this is actually planting the seed that an increase in police and military presence in black neighborhoods is necessary. And they're distracting you guys from the systemic failure that we're all witnessing right now. Here's our call to action. Transparency. Full racial breakdowns of arrests, not selective publicity. Accountability. Demand answers from elected officials who remain silent. And we're seeing a whole hell of a lot of that, aren't we? And here's something else. Community defense. Support local advocacy groups documenting racial profiling and fighting back in courts and councils. Listen, racial profiling and police violence are about to spike, not just in DC. They're just making it quote unquote okay to do it. You should be made aware now if you have not already been. And here's the thing. If you have young black men in your home, if you have black men that you love, that you honor, that you respect, just know that we need to have those conversations with our young black men again. Mothers, daughters, sisters, grandmothers, aunties, just know.
Even D.L. Hughley caught it. In Trump's own press conference, the graph he used showed crime down. Cities like L.A. and Baltimore are seeing record drops. Chicago's trending downward. D.C. isn't even in the top 25 most violent cities. But notice the pattern. The cities he targets are all led by black mayors. Leaders making progress in their communities. And what does Trump do? Conjure up the black boogeyman. Because it works as a distraction.
Did you notice that during Trump's press conference, even the graphs he used talking about crime was demonstrative that crime is down? D.C. has had a precipitous drop in crime rates, in murders and violent crimes. As a matter of fact, the cities he mentioned have all two things in common. One, they're led by black mayors, and two, they're experiencing unprecedented drops in crime. And he knows it. But he also knows no one's going to pay attention to that. He also knows that all you have to do is conjure up the specter of the black boogeyman, and the American population will just automatically go along with it. L.A. had a 60-year low in murders. What the mayor of Baltimore is doing is amazing and has caused precipitous drops. Chicago, the mayor, but they're black. And he knows that all you have to do is conjure up the specter of the black boogeyman and it'll be okay. It'll get you off the fact that the economy is tanking, that immigration is in tatters, that the Epstein files haven't been released. So all you have to do is either specifically say or infer black, and people will buy it. D.C. is not even in the top 25 in crime. Most of the states, if you look at the top 10, all but two of those cities are in states Trump won. But he didn't want to talk about that. And if you're worried about crime, if that's what you worry about, then there'll be a whole lot of other places you start with. Memphis is one of the only cities in America that hasn't had a drop in crime. It's had an increase. But that's in the state you won. That's in the state he won, so he's not going to worry about that. All you have to do in this country is conjure up the specter of crime and connect it to black people, and America will buy it. So whenever you're in trouble, your economic policy is tanking, your immigration policy is off the rails, and people are wondering why your administration seems to be shielding the news of people connected with a pedophile. You know, if you want to talk about that, always bet against black.
So the question is, are these concerns based in reality, or are they fueled by fear and political bias? Is Trump really targeting black communities specifically, or is this more about crime and politics than race? What do you think?